I'll make a city council meeting worth watching. I do guarantee you that. I'll try. I'll be right up under the line where I need to get censured, but I'll make it fun. I promise.
Hello and welcome to The Nice Show. That stands for news, information, conversation, and entertainment here on ccnc.news. It's the newest media portal for Cumberland County, North Carolina. My name is Charles Bosworth. Many of you know me as Boz or Charlie. Thanks for clicking the play button. Now, what you just heard was a clip from my interview with Peter Pappas, who is running for City Council District 6 here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes talking with Pete and learn about him and why he wants your vote on July 26th. If you are listening to this between July 7th and July 23rd, early voting is underway, and you can cast your vote at the Board of Election at 227 Fountainhead Lane in Fayetteville. On July 26th, you'll be able to vote at your normal precinct. Okay, let's get this show started. This afternoon, we are speaking with Peter Pappas, who is running for Town Council, District 6 for Fayetteville, North Carolina. So thank you for joining us this afternoon, Pete.
Well, thanks for having me, Boz. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the invitation. So what's going on?
Yeah, we're going to dig in. We're going to dig in. As I told you, basically, I want to take this from the standpoint of someone who is just tuning in and just learning that, there's elections.
Oh, yeah.
We're voting for town council. That usually happens in November, and suddenly this year it's all changed.
Well, thanks to the Corona boogeyman, we're a year late, and our current city council's on 3 years of a 2-year term. So we have to hold this election a little late, but it is an odd time, middle of the summer, July 26th. It's going to be a challenge to get people to the polls, but I think it's important that they understand and they know how important it is to come to the polls.
Right. It is very important. Especially more so probably now than ever. I don't know. I mean, it's always been important, but it just seems now because people have not been as involved and participating in this process that we really need to get back into it.
Right. Well, look, you've got civil unrest. You've got people hating on the police. You have, with our local city council, we have just adopted a new budget, but the office I'm running for, if I get my 1 year in office, then I have 1 year to come up with another budget, and I have to find out the question of some bonds that they're trying to get on the ballot for November. So this is an important time, and I think a lot of people don't understand how much is going to affect their pocketbook if the right people are not put in the right places.
Right. So let's start at the beginning. Let's let people know who you are and a little bit of your background here in Fayetteville.
Okay. Well, I'm a Fayetteville native, born and raised here. My father immigrated in 1968 from Greece. He was seeking a better life and opportunity. My mother was a military dependent. My grandfather from upstate New York, and my grandmother was straight from Germany. He met her over there. So I'm a Greek, German, American. I'm a most loyal mutt, I guess I like to say. But at any rate, I grew up, my father working in restaurants, as many of the Greek community here did. We had the Baldino's Sub Shop, and we've been doing that for 47 years. I've grown up in it. 6, 7 years old, I was making drinks, and even when I was a little younger, my dad had a little broom in the kitchen that if I could sweep the kitchen, I would get quarters, and we would play the good video games like Pac-Man and Pole Position, that kind of thing. So work ethic was very instilled in me very early. Two siblings, my older sister and younger brother. I like to call her older sister. She doesn't like that. But then just work hard. I mean, I've been full-time for 24 years at this point. I took advantage of all the opportunity that was presented to me, and I worked hard in school. I went to Emory University, came back, finished at Campbell. So I was only out of here a year and a half before I came back. So I have been in Fayetteville my entire life, and since returning, operate up to 7 restaurants at one time. I had my commercial real estate, and we also do some construction, and now I figured let's take those skills and apply them to city council. I've been serving on Fayetteville Cumberland Human Relations for 2 years. We're the folks that are tasked with the market house question, with all the unrest around that. And that's given me some insight into how government works and how it doesn't work and how it can work better. So I decided you can't be a what do I call it? Keyboard cowboy on Facebook.
Right.
Put your money where your mouth is. And running for office, the city can benefit from the skills that I've gained over 24 years of business. It's a lot of 70, 80-hour work weeks. Mm-hmm. I've paid my dues.
Right.
Now it's time to give back.
When you're looking back on this career that you've had, what are a couple lessons that you feel are going to be, that you're going to bring to the table to really help?
So that's a tough one. I have a lot of imposter syndrome. Like, I'm a successful guy by any means, but I always question and say, what else can I do? What can I do better? I'm always trying to improve. Looking back, I think being candid with people sometimes strikes them surprisingly, that it's somebody in my position or would just speak candidly and say, no, you just did something stupid, or I am working on the edges now that I'm running for office. I need to be nicer in the public, but right. It's not that I'm a mean guy. I just say, I observe and I try to guide and give people support that they need so they don't make another dumb decision. How many employees have I helped? Give rides, pick up to and from work, or keep the lights on, or whatever else. I've been in the trenches with my guys. And that is a big lesson, I think, for any business person. You're not going to manage your way out of anything.
Right.
You got to put your own skin in the game, and you need to be in your kitchen. You need to be in your office or wherever you make your income. You got to be there. Nobody's going to do it for you. Participate. So
that's I think a refreshing thing to hear, because I think there's a lot of people who think of business owners mm-hmm. that you're just not doing anything. You just sit in an office and you tell other people what to do.
Oh, yeah. I have, how do I put this? Peers or people that observe what I do, running around like a chicken with my head cut off. It appears that way, but I'm a very organized guy. I have my calendar. I have my assistant. I have a structure in place, but it always cracks me up when you get somebody that's not in the business or not working the hours that I'm putting in, and they're like, well, why don't you just find a manager? And I look at them like, boy, I wish I thought of that. Believe me, it's not for a lack of trying. It's that when you have a set standard, like with the restaurants, it's a very established thing. Like, we have opening, mid-shift, closing checklists, and all these things I've created over 20 plus years of this business and growing up, so I know it in and out. But you can't manage your way out with signs and checklists. You lose the soul of what you're doing. In my business, you have to provide hospitality. You have to be, and I say that, and then people look at me. I said, look, just be a good human. If you suck as a human, I don't need you here. Right. Like, McDonald's is hiring, man. Go work for them if you're miserable. And I'm sorry for my listeners that are listening to work at McDonald's. I love the McMuffin. Fat Boy likes you. But, it's just the simple things to make you successful, especially in the restaurant realm, is hospitality, good service, and then you have your production, how fast you make it, what it looks like, and then you have cleanliness. Those are the three main things. If you can't keep a store clean and keep your customers smiling and happy, you don't deserve to be there. You earn your business every order that goes out. Mm-hmm. Even though that customer might come to me every Friday for 20 years, I can lose his business next week. So I have to re-earn that business and that trust every week and make sure it all goes out well.
Well, you're not just competing with Subway or Jersey Mike's or McDonald's, for that matter. Mm-hmm. You're competing also with grocery stores.
Yes, sir. And
anywhere that people can mm-hmm. get some food. So,
well, and therein lies the privilege part. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're privileged to have their business. I mean, that's just the way it is. My restaurants are the bread and butter of my life, and that's not solely a financial thing. That is where my heart is. Mm-hmm. I grew up doing it. I'm tied to these restaurants. I mean, I have closed some because as one person running all of them, it was a little bit tough, especially through Corona, when your business just runs through the roof. We were crazy busy, but nobody to help me.
Yeah.
So you know, the last 9 months of my life has been defined by, let's step back and let's find some peace. And let's calm down. Let's cool our jets. Let's see what's good for the family, what's good for you personally. And then, of course, I'm running for office. So, you know, I just had to fill that void, I guess. You know, I was worried I wouldn't have enough to do. But you know, look, if you want something done, you give it to a busy guy.
That's right.
Because I'll get it done.
So with 24 years and you're running these restaurants and you've talked to lots of people, and so you can easily, at least from my perspective, I could say you have a pulse on what's happening in the community, talking with people about how things are going, how are their lives doing, what's the complaint today, or what's the joy today. So stepping into this town council role, you're not going to be shy as far as communicating with people to learn what's on their mind.
That's correct. I mean, you learn in my business how to, and this also goes to the real estate side, you learn to read the room. Who's your customer? Now, me on city council, my customer is my neighbor. Hey, neighbor, what's going on? If somebody comes in the restaurant, you can see what kind of day they're having. You just get another sense for people. Sometimes it's that single mom, just, give her an extra soda, or, there's an extra cookie in the bag or something to make that person's day a little bit better. But on city council, I have the ability to make their quality of life better. And I can, but I'm still reading those cues. So if I see how many people show up to a city council meeting or to a community watch meeting, that I've been very prolific ever since I filed for office. And I hate the connotation like, well, he's filing for office, that's why he's here. But I'm glad I'm involved with these community watches I've been going to and having these meetings I've had with city departments and all, because I'm learning what all is in my neighborhood, and I'm learning the pain points. And I haven't found one pain point yet that I don't think I can help with. Not one.
So talking about getting into government and taking that experience, moving it into government, talking with people in business, and now moving that over to the community and being able to make that change. What are the things right now that you see that require some attention here, specifically in Fayetteville, and maybe even specifically for your district?
Okay. So no matter what, and at the top of everyone's, especially this cycle, it seems to be public safety is top of everyone's mind. Now, that can be mischaracterized as, oh, we need more police, we need more policing. No, we need the right kind. We need community policing. We need a return to, I want to know the officer that normally works my area. I want them to know that when they're responding to a call at 123 Elm Street, they're responding to Mary's neighborhood or Susie's neighborhood or house, not some number. We, in the past, have had a strong community policing where I also feel like it feeds in with the younger folks that have been told by national media the horrible things for police. And there are many people that have tarnished the reputation of good, law-abiding officers. But people talk about the murders here in Fayetteville. You can't change people's heart. But what we can do, community police, make the young people that are in those neighborhoods, that make them feel safe to approach an officer, to know that if they were to help not solve the crime, but if they were able to talk to police because they knew them, they knew it was a safe place to be, we might have fewer homicides, maybe. Again, the murder thing is a matter of the heart. You're not going to stop ugliness in someone's heart to go kill another person.
Right.
But what can we do? I can make sure the police are in the neighborhoods, that they have the right training. This came up last night regarding social workers on the police force, like a non-emergency response or whatever. I absolutely think the police need that more training. They need psychology training to de-escalate situations before they turn fatal. But we're never going to get it all right, but we can try.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as far as, people that murder, I mean, I firmly believe nobody in their right mind actually kills someone else. There's something that's happened, in their mind. and
Yeah, I
they
would
are
agree.
not
Yeah.
like normal. We're having this conversation. Neither one of us are going to go kill anybody else. Like it's just not, it's not going to happen. So when that happens, it's because something's triggered it. And if we can make the communities safer, make people feel safer, then there's less. I think I agree with you. There's going to be less of that.
Well, I'm going to brag for just a moment. So, as I've gone to these community watch meetings, there was one in Erin Lakes because there was a double homicide down there about probably within the last 2 months. So I went to the community watch meeting, which was about a week after that incident, and there was a lot of concerned citizens there, scared people that live in the neighborhood, and they want to know what are the police doing? What is the city council people doing? Now, I was there as a candidate. There was another councilman. We share the district, 6 and 7. It splits in Erin Lakes. But while he was discussing his solution, which was from the heart, I know he's sincere. He says we need to talk to the mamas and the daddies of these kids and all that, and I completely agree with that. But I can't make that actionable. So what was I doing while he was speaking and I was listening? I was texting a property manager that I know that manages a lot of those units. Within the next 2 weeks, I managed to not only get the property managers talking to me and to interface with the community watch, to invite those members from the rentals to the community watch, but I also discovered that the HOA can provide a surveillance system. I approached them like, hey, could you guys afford a security guard back there? Or could you, do some patrols? They says, we can do a camera that the police can have access to. I'm not even in office yet.
Right.
And I saw an opportunity to say, well, I know this guy and I know that guy, so let me put them together and here we go. Now, I haven't brought it to fruition yet, so, we're still getting quotes and everything, but that's what I can do. And it took 2 or 3 phone calls, and it's already in progress.
So having a person on town council who does take action and doesn't just provide lip service or not even some cases getting even lip service. Just
I'm not looking for the political answer. Okay, I know not everyone's going to like me. I want to love all my neighbors, and if you like me, I'll kiss you on both cheeks. But it's just. I can't not give the candid answer. Maybe I have something screwed. I don't know, but when I see something where I can solve the problem, I'm going to go straight for it. I'm not going to search for the soft answer.
Right.
So,
well, that's refreshing, I think.
I'll make a city council meeting worth watching. I do guarantee you that. I'll try. I'll be right up under the line where I need to get censured, but I'll make it fun. I promise.
So, community policing, a big issue. What's another big issue that needs to be addressed? So,
and these are essentially what I've been researching and running on: affordable housing and access to. That speaks to my real estate background. The knowledge that we have a large younger millennial population approaching that first home buying age of 33 years old, or they're around that range, and they're not going to have anything to buy. Now, again, it's not about the money, but you've got people that are educated, they have degrees, they're working their careers, they have families, they're adults, they're not kids. And we have nothing to offer them inventory-wise. Nationwide, we're short 5 million units of housing, nationwide.
Wow.
And as I've said on some other broadcasts, that's fine. Nationally, they can, like with the police or with housing, no, that's fine. They can have their shortages or whatever. I'm worried about Fayetteville.
Right.
I'm going to be, very focused on what goes on in our city. So my angle with affordable housing is that with the Unified Development Ordinance, working with developers that are local, that have the experience to work with HUD and other federal agencies, let's as City Council guide, not rubber stamp, but guide the navigation of all this red tape that we've thrown up over the last 20 years. And let's get these developers able to make 4, 10, 20 acre developments that could have, imagine a mix of apartments that maybe the market rent is $1,000 a month, but the affordable voucher based would be $500. And that apartment's going to look the same, so that the person doesn't have to feel a sense of lack of pride in ownership because they're in a very nice area. I feel like that does a lot to raise the spirit of the people that maybe they're down, but they're not out, and they don't deserve to be looked down upon. I use the Groveview Terrace redevelopment as a huge example of a local developer that went in there and took something that was getting, 10 police calls a day down to 3 a week by redeveloping and making it a nice place, like the 1980s with New York, the broken windows theory. If you've got graffiti and broken glass everywhere, what do you want people to act like?
Right.
They're going to feel horrible. So you clean it up, give people the right environment, give them a hand up, not a hand out. Festival Park, I was at a homeless feeding event. One of the guys that was volunteering to serve was telling me he grew up in Groveview Terrace in the 80s. And that was the height of the crack epidemic. I mean, it was rough down there. And I said, so have you seen it since they redeveloped it? He says, yeah, they're nice. And I said, so as a young man, what would that have done for you? And I don't think he could quantify it. He just had this look on his face like, man, that would have done so much. Just a nicer place to live.
Right.
It wouldn't have changed maybe. I mean, I think he works at Goodyear. I'm sorry. I grew up here, so it's Kelly Springfield. Sorry, Goodyear. But just seeing the look on his face, that how much that would have changed his outlook on life as a young man, not going to these old rundown houses.
Right.
So affordable housing, definitely quality of life issue, sidewalks, green spaces. I was making a video down in the park, across from the market house. And I was saying these things on my video. Yeah, we need green space. We need sidewalks. And then as soon as I said that, these two bicyclists came right by me. I said, bike paths. How about that? So
right.
there's a misconception as to what city council can do. Mm-hmm. Some things, some streets, sidewalks, you have to get state approval. So what I want to see with city council is guided and planned development. Nothing crazy. We have to get away from the spot zoning, spot application of our developments. Growing up here, Fayetteville was what I would consider the Wild West when it comes to zoning and infrastructure. It was scattershot. It wasn't very organized. And then sometime in the 90s, we got some sense about us and we said, let's codify all this. So we made the Unified Development Ordinance, which was the probably largest government overcorrection in history in Fayetteville, because it basically took from doing whatever you wanted to you can't do anything.
Right.
And slowly, instead of reevaluating the whole thing, we've chipped away at it. So I mentioned before we started on air, there was a development down Gillespie, about 300 single-family homes, that the developer wanted an accommodation with the UDO to allow that to happen. And that's fine. He's bringing a lot of investment. Let's give him the leeway he needs. However, City Council made no mention what part of your project is going to be affordable housing. Looking at the presentation given at City Council that night, as a realtor, I can tell you that those single-family homes are going to be in the $2,000 to $3,000 range a month rent.
Wow.
Now, I don't know that for sure. I didn't see the numbers on the result, but just the amenities that were shown to me, those are expensive rentals. Those are not affordable housing. So that's going to further crunch our young folks that are trying to get started.
Yeah.
So lastly, just bringing some leadership to council. Just putting a guy in the seat that I'm not beholden to a union. I'm not beholden to any special interest. Yes, I mentioned the realtors, but realtors are facilitators of transactions, and that's a skill I bring. That I serve the citizens. I don't serve the city manager. They serve us.
Right.
Hold them accountable. And with my experience, I think what I've already done on human relations is now our director needs to report on her activities every month when she creates a report, because my insistence that I need to know what she does every month. When you're making a salary upwards of nearly $80,000 a year, I want to know what's up.
Right.
I want to know where that money is being spent, because if you can't justify it, then some of these city boards can be turned into bulletin boards and a website.
Right.
You want to talk about finding money for police or finding money for infrastructure. Well, give me a budget. Right. I got a red pen. So
Going to change direction just a little bit because as you were talking about the community development part of it, I was starting to think about pride in the community. People being, prideful of where they live. And when I first moved here about 6 years ago, I was driving.
You're not going to say the Fayette and
no.
Or are you? Okay, don't do that. Yeah, we're past that now.
Yeah, what's funny is that there are people outside of here that when we told people we were moving here, that was you're moving. And
that was an old connotation, absolutely. But
as I was driving down, I think it was McPherson Church Road. This young lady, she wasn't a teenager, but she wasn't, she might have been in her 20s, I want to say. And she had this big cup of soda that she was walking with. And she just threw it down on the ground. And obviously not everybody does that. But,
right.
Just seeing that happen. And then where we were living, we don't live at this place anymore. But one day I'm sitting out on the porch. There's a stop. We're on the corner, so people come to the stop sign. And lady throws trash right out onto our lawn. And I was sitting there, I'm staring at them. And so they picked it back up, and then the driver says, "Oh, sorry,
she's
blah,
not
blah,
sorry."
Blah.
Yeah, no, she's not sorry.
So I mentioned these two examples because I want to know, what do you think can be done to make people pick up after themselves, to be proud to be proud of their community that they live in, to say, this is Fayetteville, it's beautiful.
I'm not sure how clear your memory is, but I would go back to this. Every day when I was growing up, my grandfather said, he was a military background, so he said, every day, Pete, you got to get up and you have to, the 3 S's,
right.
shower and shave every day, okay? Take pride in your personal appearance. And if you remember back to your memory of that lady or whoever out at the stop sign, look at how they took pride in themselves, number one. If they don't have self-respect and they can't look in the mirror and say, I got this, that's a matter of the heart, just like murderers are. You can't change. You can't. There's no role models. There's nobody telling them to model the right behavior. I don't have to tell them. Just show them. Lead by example. Littering and pride in the community, I think if we have... Here we go again with the police. But if the police start enforcing smaller crimes, I'm not saying they can be out there as a litter bug police, but the speeding and the graffiti, and how many times do I get a letter from code enforcement, somebody tagged my building downtown? Okay. I mean, we get a letter for that. We have people out to look at that, but we have no enforcement to catch the people doing it. So it costs me however much every time I get a letter, and it's fine. We want our city to stay, and we have a whole team of people devoted in code enforcement to keep us looking right. But as far as littering and all, I think there has to be pride and ownership, and it starts with the individual, and that starts in our schools and in our community events and things like that. People just need to have self-respect, and I think they'll start picking up after themselves. But you're always going to have some a-hole that's going to throw it out the door. I mean, maybe they're just, they had a bad hair day. They're like, the hell with this. I don't want to be part of my community. So here, take that, Fayetteville. But they are providing jobs for our sanitation workers. So this is a fine line,
right?
There's
the trade-off.
Yeah, there's a trade-off there. So there is a trade-off. But no, I'd prefer our sanitation workers stick to their day job and not go after cleaning up. But anyway,
well, that's great. Any final thoughts that you would like to share on your experience or what you're looking forward to with being on town council should you be elected?
So I'm looking forward to it being a short term, number one, because there's been a lot of changes in my personal life as far as my family. My parents live with me now since they had a fire in their home week before Thanksgiving. So they're living with me, and I love it. I mean, I love having my parents around, but it's not their house, so they're not always happy.
Right?
Their house had a lake and a pool, and mine doesn't. So I love having them there, but we have that project going on to rebuild their house and things. But I'm looking forward to the experience. I've enjoyed meeting everybody. I've been very, very fluid with my schedule. Put me in, coach. If there's a community watch, if there's an opportunity to speak, I've gone to things that other candidates have looked at me out of the side of their eye like, are you really going to that? And I'm like, yeah, okay. It might be a hostile room, or maybe what you would perceive as an unwelcome room, but I've been welcomed with open arms from any forum or group because you just participate. Right. And I appreciate that people recognize that I show up and I continue to show up. And with the thing we do in Festival Park, it's a local organization that feeds the homeless like once a month. I found some pretty good community with those guys. My grandfather was a Vietnam vet, and he said about religion a long time ago, he says, Pete, religion is where you're at. Church is where you're at. He would talk about being in the field, and he had his Bible, and that was it. My restaurants are closed on Sunday now. So I have the opportunity now to go basically fellowship with a group of folks that are feeding the homeless. And the homeless people that come recognize me now. And says, "Hey, brother, how you doing? What's going on? How's your week been?" It's not me going to feed the homeless. I'm just going to hang out with some guys that happen to be making food.
Right.
And that's a natural for me. So
right.
I take the apron and I go. I haven't hit the grill yet, though. I've only been taking drinks and ice. That's all they trust me with yet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to City Council, the experience. I'm looking forward to serving my neighbors in my district and my city as a whole. I think I can benefit the conversation there at City Council, and I really would appreciate everyone's vote July 26th. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Pete Pappas, very approachable.
I'll try to be.
Yeah, there's no standoffish feeling like you're. And I'm not saying anybody here in Fayetteville necessarily, but I think sometimes people think of politicians. Mm-hmm. I'll put that in quotation marks. As you just can't talk to those people. It's like,
say it isn't so. Oh, he's a politician. Well, I mean, and so I do have a person running for office now that says, well, I'm not a politician. And I said, hey, man, as soon as we get elected, we're politicians.
Right.
We have to own it.
Yeah.
We don't have to be that kind of politician, but
right.
Nonetheless, we have to take the mantle. But I'm a little too candid to be a politician. Maybe we'll see how good of one I'll be. I'll be a good servant to my community. Right. Politician part, we'll get there.
How can people get in touch with you and ask you questions and connect with you?
So they can give me a call, 910-901-7377. That's my campaign line, and it'll also be that comes directly to my cell phone. They can go to my website, Pappas46, PAPPASFOR, number 6.com. Of course, I have all the Facebooks and the Instagrams and all those things and stuff. But, shoot me a text. Give me a call. If I don't answer, it might be my assistant, but please leave me a message. I will call you back. I will get back with you. You will not sit unread in my email box, I promise.
Awesome. So I think we have a good public servant ready to serve the community, and Pete Pappas is asking for your vote. And again, we have July elections.
Oof. Come on now, everybody. I'm knocking doors in these neighborhoods, and I don't think the candidate can wear shorts, so I'm wearing jeans and a long sleeve shirt and a hat. So it's hot as Hades. So if I knock on your door, please, talk to me for a little bit, and you don't have to offer the candidate any water. I'll have that with me, but just know that I'm doing the work, and I want to meet you all.
Crazy. So election day is the 26th.
Yeah, so early voting is this Thursday and Friday, and then the next 2 weeks, Monday through Friday. I'm not sure about weekends, so I don't want to mislead anyone, but I will post these schedules on my socials and my website. But yeah, Board of Elections, though. Right. Your early voting site is only Board of Election. When it's just a municipal election, they only open one early polling place, which my district being on the complete geographic opposite side of town, I just really urge and beg people, please come out and cast your vote, especially if you're going to go on vacation or in the middle of summer. We have lives to live.
Exactly.
Thank you, Pete, for your time today to speak with us and inform the voters about who you are and what you can bring to City Council. And thank you also to all of you who have clicked the play button and listened all the way through to the end. Please subscribe. I do have more candidate interviews on the way, and you won't want to miss those. Now, one last thing, I'm going to run a logo contest. I think we need a new logo. And for those of you who subscribe to the newsletter, well, you will get all of the details soon. Thanks again, and until next time, remember to exercise your right to practice the golden rule and treat others the way you want to be treated in every instance of every interaction you have with others. Plant seeds of success in your mind's garden and watch your world change.